Tours, nestled in the picturesque Loire Valley in the west of France, is a city that effortlessly blends history, culture, and natural beauty. Renowned for its charming cobblestone streets and well-preserved architecture, Tours invites visitors to step back in time and explore its rich heritage. The city is a gateway to the region's renowned chateaux, which showcase the opulence of French Renaissance architecture. The Place Plumereau, a lively square surrounded by half-timbered houses, serves as the heart of the city, offering a vibrant atmosphere with its array of cafes and restaurants. Tours is also a hub for wine enthusiasts, as the surrounding area is known for its vineyards producing exceptional wines. The city's cultural scene thrives, with numerous museums, galleries, and theatres showcasing the artistic prowess that defines this enchanting corner of France. The city hit the headlines in the late 1980s for a chilling crime which left an indelible mark on its history. Despite the subsequent efforts to move forward, the echoes of that pivotal event continue to shape the city's narrative, serving as a sombre reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring need for vigilance. On the 13th of December 1988, a gruesome and chilling discovery was made. In the car park of Trousseau Hospital, located in the city of Tours, 2 waste disposal bags were found, with a third located near a supermarket. Within the bags were remains of a human female. Some body parts were noted as missing, such as the skull. However, an anonymous tip led police to confirm the identity of the woman as having been 38-year-old Françoise Gendron, who was divorced and had a 20-year-old son. Initial inquiries led police to the fact that Françoise had not been in contact with or had been seen by any of her friends or family in the days leading up to her body being found. Her neighbours noted that they were concerned as Françoise's cat had been left alone in her apartment with no food. Authorities visited Françoise's home and received fingerprints to compare to the body, which confirmed her identity. Police narrowed their search, focusing on 3 individuals, 2 men and a woman. Françoise was known to attend many parties and nightclubs, bars, restaurants and discotheques with this specific trio who were often in her company. Rumours circulated that Françoise had been displeased with the men, named Luc and Michel, for allegedly being involved in drug activities. Michel and Luc were taken into custody and questioned by police, and both men were cleared of any involvement in the death of Madame Gendron. During their respective interviews, the men both mentioned a name, Sylvie Reviriego. Naturally, she was police's next target for investigation. Investigators arrived at Sylvie's home and asked her many questions, to which she answered coldly. She also avoided answering many of their questions. Police then explored her residence and found some damning evidence. In the bathroom, small brown stains were found on the bathtub as well as a small jar of jewellery. Chillingly, they also retrieved some gold dental crowns. The crowns were analysed and later confirmed as having belonged to the victim, Françoise Gendron. Sylvie was taken to the police station where she confessed to having murdered her friend in cold blood. Sylvie Reviriego was born in 1951. In her early years, she suffered from polio and was incessantly teased about her condition at school. After dropping out of school while still young, she became a seamstress and went on to marry. At 19 years old, she fell pregnant with her first child. Money troubles saw Sylvie losing her job, and she and her family fell upon hard times. In 1982, she began a job at a Chinon hospital, working as a technician in a department which specialised in caring for bedridden children. At this time, her marriage crumbled. Her husband was volatile and violent, and Sylvie made an attempt on her life during this period. The couple were divorced in 1987, and a year later, Sylvie was awarded a diploma in nursing. Following this, she decided to leave Chinon and travelled to Tours, where she would settle and have a fresh start. There, she became friends with Françoise Gendron, who she had apparently known in her childhood. They spent time together regularly. However, over the weeks and months, Sylvie became deeply envious of Françoise, who had engaged in many relationships with men over the years and always found success in Sylvie's eyes. Sylvie's endeavours ended more frequently in failure, and nightlife had become a chore for her as time passed. She allegedly would lend Françoise a lot of money over a period of time and grew frustrated that her friend took so long to pay her back, if she even paid her back at all. She knew Françoise made clothes and sold the garments, however, for whatever reason, never gave any of her earnings to Sylvie. These thoughts of resentment she kept to herself, and she apparently never nudged her friend in terms of requesting the return of her money. In Sylvie's mind, Françoise was a selfish and clingy individual, and by December 1988, she had decided that she had suffered enough. Sylvie described the events of the 12th of December 1988 in detail to authorities upon her arrest. On the day in question, she arrived at Françoise's residence with a plan to murder her. Originally, she sought to kill Françoise by dropping a hairdryer into the bath in order to electrocute her to death. However, this failed. Therefore, she invited Françoise to her home to try on some clothes she had sewn. As Françoise settled in, Sylvie put her murderous mind to work. She dropped anti-anxiety medication into a cup of tea and then served it to an unsuspecting Françoise. Sylvie encouraged her to take a bath afterwards to relax. Françoise fell unconscious in the water, and Sylvie mercilessly attacked her. Using a scalpel, Sylvie slashed her victim's wrists, then carried the body to the floor, where she wrapped Françoise up in a carpet, with her victim's blood going down the drain with the bathwater. Following this, Sylvie took the lifeless body to her balcony. She called one of Françoise's friends and told them that she had travelled to a property in western France in order to erase any suspicion surrounding her sudden and unexplained disappearance. Abandoning the body on the balcony, Sylvie casually made lunch and prepared a celebration for her son's birthday later that night. She briefly visited her parents, where she borrowed a hunting knife and a cleaver, with further sinister plans for the victim's remains. At her son's birthday celebration, around 10 children attended, and they later recalled to police a peculiar statement that escaped Sylvie's mouth. She said she had gotten herself into a, quote, funny mess. Once the party was over and the home was silent again, Sylvie, dressed in a nursing coat from her work, began dismembering Françoise's body. She removed the victim's head and placed it beneath a bucket out of view. Over the course of 2 hours, she cut up the body and placed the remains in waste disposal bags. She realised that she required more bags, therefore she took a trip to the local supermarket, where she ended up carrying out a regular grocery shop and acted completely ordinarily. During the same trip, she disposed of 2 bags in the Trousseau Hospital car park, with a third abandoned in the supermarket's car park. Returning home, she took the head from beneath the bucket and began dissecting it. She disposed of the teeth in the bathroom, and she found difficulty in crushing the skull. Therefore, she decided to place it in the oven at 360 degrees overnight. She disposed of several remains in the Vienne River, which was witnessed by her son, who at the time didn't know she was disposing of human remains. On the riverbank, members of the fire department easily found several skull fragments which Sylvie had scorched in the oven. After placing the pieces together, authorities were able to confirm that the skull was that of Françoise. On the 24th of June 1991, Sylvie Reviriego, who had been residing in Orleans prison and was declared sane by 2 psychiatrists, was put on trial for the murder of Françoise Gendron in Tours. The defence based its case on expert reports, which revealed that weight loss pills consumed by Sylvie in the weeks before the murder had severely impacted her mental well-being. These numerous pills had modified her behaviour, causing occasional confusion. The physician who had prescribed these medications to Sylvie faced a 3-month suspension from practising medicine, as imposed by the French Medical Association. Since she had been declared sane, it was difficult for authorities to understand why exactly a sane woman would have resorted to killing someone so brutally. Sylvie also told the court that she had no recollection of the killing or her actions following. The motive for the murder was explored, with it being stated that Sylvie had strongly felt inferior to Françoise ever since they were childhood friends, and jealousy had overwhelmed her. The jury didn't believe her medication was the cause of her murderous intent and rage, despite Sylvie's mother stating that her daughter's behaviour had changed drastically in the months leading up to the murder, and they believed her to be criminally responsible. The jury subsequently delivered a guilty verdict. Sylvie was sentenced to life imprisonment. In August of 2009, it was reported that Sylvie, who had been dubbed the Butcher of Tours by the media, had been released on parole from prison on the condition that she would continue to be psychiatrically monitored. It has been reported that Sylvie, who would now be in her 70s, has started life anew in a town not far from Tours.